to podcast number 15. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Melissa.
And we're from Espace Tricot, a knit store in Montreal, Canada.
Yeah. And it's been, I think we last recorded at the end of November, so it's been a little while, you guys. We're really sorry. We had a Knit Night Live at the beginning of December, around December 10th, I think. And then we really took the rest of...
well, it's not like we took a break.
We didn't take a break, but we took a recording break.
Yes, because our nerves get the better of us. And
yeah, we were happy to have a little...
We're like, oh, should we do it yet? Okay, oh no. Anyways.
Well, it got really busy up. The Christmas was crazy.
Yes,
it was
very
crazy
busy
in the store. It was very busy. It was very busy personally. And then getting back into the groove after the holidays seemed to take us a little longer than... we were busy again in the store, but getting back into the groove of getting organized to do another podcast.
And the routine.
The routine. The kids went back to school quite late.
Like the 9th, I think, of January. And, we also just had our Christmas party with our staff, which we call the after Christmas party. So I think I guess now that we just had it on the weekend and we're like, okay, Christmas, the season's really over.
The season's over.
Time to get started.
Lasted a long time.
So those of you who, it was funny because we posted on Instagram like phase 1 and then we didn't post any other pictures.
No, exactly, of the party. It was phase 1. We took our staff to did you just say that?
No, I didn't say what we did.
We took them out to a pottery studio to learn how to throw pots, I guess, on the wheel. I think that's what you call it.
Throw whatever you end up throwing at the end of the session.
So everyone had a great time, I think. Yeah. And then we headed back to Lisa's place for food and knitting and drinks.
And
yes.
Lots of storytelling. And it's funny because Gianluca was in his room. He's like, all of a sudden I'd hear this burst of laughter and everybody would be laughing. And he's like, oh, I wonder what they're laughing about out there, So it was
probably nothing he should hear.
Yeah. Good thing he was in his room.
It was either having babies or menopause, really.
And one thing that I found was really interesting when we went to the pottery studio was... at the beginning when you go, so what was really fun is we went to the studio of Hugo Didier, and he's the one who's doing the pottery for us. So
our knitting fuel mugs and our yarn bowls and our little notions dishes and that kind of thing. Yeah.
So it's kind of nice that they met Hugo and that they see where it comes from, and also it was nice because our next order was actually on the shelf waiting to be fired.
Waiting to be glazed.
Yeah, it was there. So it was funny because the first half hour everybody was like, oh my God, there is no way that I can do this. And then they were like, it was flopping and flopping. And we're like, don't worry, you're going to get it. You're going to get it.
Well, learning something new, right? It's something completely different, completely foreign to... I think one or two of our staff had done it before,
Françoise had done it. I think Diana maybe had done something when she was a... No, Amelia when she was a kid. And Françoise had just a tiny bit of experience.
Yeah.
But it was amazing by the end of 3 hours.
They all made stuff.
Everybody made stuff.
Yeah, and a couple of things too, I think. So,
yeah.
So we're going to we'll have a picture and we'll do a great big sort of reveal of all the things they made.
Yeah, so that was fun.
I think everyone had a good time.
Yeah, we had a really fun time, and our staff is just amazing, growing. Like we were 14 people and we had 2 people who couldn't make it. So it was quite something to see our staff.
That felt good, actually, I have to say, considering that we started with me, you, and Mona.
Mona, exactly. Right? Come a long way,
baby. Come a long way, baby, exactly.
So that's sort of what happened there. And then during the holidays, you went not home, but you went...
Not home. I went back to New Jersey because my husband is still there. So he will be coming up hopefully within the next month or 2, which is very exciting. So we're still doing the whole back and forth to New Jersey and New York to visit. So Tristan and I headed down just after Christmas, actually, because my son hadn't seen my parents in a while. So we wanted him to spend Christmas here. And then we headed right down after Christmas and had about a week or so in New Jersey.
Just about a week, I think
just
you
about
went.
A week.
Yeah.
It flew by, of course, and it was... It didn't, when you're just going at Christmas time. So I have to say, coming back, we were actually exhausted.
Yeah, you need a break after that.
You need a break. So all that to say that things have been a bit of a slow start for the new year, but we had a great time.
It was fun to see him. And you had a second Christmas because then when you got there,
I got there, he had all the Christmas tree set up and a whole bunch of presents under the tree again. So we had nice. Christmas number 2. Yeah.
When I was sick, I had bad cold, so I didn't even make it to my parents for Christmas dinner. So Sean and Gianluca went off, and
You missed Boxing Day at your...
Yeah, exactly. Well, my mom does Christmas dinner on Boxing Day because my sister-in-law's family does Christmas dinner.
You were really sick for
I was pretty sick. I was down and out. But you know what? I have to say it made me relax because I did nothing. I really just sat on the couch because always like, oh, we should go
like
skiing,
forced relaxation.
we should go skating, we should do stuff, and I'm like, no, I just like sat on the couch and blew my nose for a few days. So felt good.
But you can't even really enjoy your relaxation.
No, well, that was it, you know. But anyways, it's done. Well, no, actually,
I'm trying to think. We did a little bit. Did you knit over the holidays at all? I mean, we have some stuff to show, so we must have done some knitting, but
I don't think I knit
there was
a
more
lot.
afterwards, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It was so long ago.
I know, it's all a
We were
blur.
just talking about that.
I know. How we have zero memory anymore.
So, and we also wanted to wish Happy New Year to everybody.
Yes.
And big thank you to
all our customers and viewers. And, 2017, which was such an amazing year for us. And we grew at an unprecedented rate.
Yes.
I mean, we've been obviously growing steadily since we opened, but last year was just something else entirely. And we have only everybody out there to thank for following us, for supporting us, for ordering from us, and coming in and buying what we're putting out there. And so really it's just so many nice comments and gestures and gifts and we have kind words we receive from
everybody. Whether it's online, on the blog, emails, or in person. And we have a lot of people who drop off stuff for the staff, like cookies and home baking and
so many
candies.
so many things are rolling in all the time just to show appreciation. And it's wonderful. It makes us feel like we're on the right track, right?
Definitely. And our staff, they're just like, it's so nice that our customers appreciate our staff as well because they work so hard in order to make Espace Tricot what it is. It's really
and we have to thank them too, because without them we wouldn't have been able to grow like this, right? Like
not.
They go over and above. They work long hours before their shift starts, after their shift ends. They're still here. If stuff has to go out, they'll stay for an hour or 2 or 3 hours.
And they have that pride that we haven't. You know, when you're the owner, you have that pride of like you try to make it as perfect as possible. You want to meet your deadlines, but they're exactly like us. They're like, oh, we got to get to the post office before 5 o'clock because
it's got to go out because this person's waiting and they want their yarn and they understand that when you order, you want your yarn yesterday. Yeah. Right? So
exactly. And then they call and then they text us like, oh, this customer needs this. Is it okay if we put in a small order? They really, really care. And so, oftentimes as a small business owner, the worry is if the owner is not around, then the staff isn't working as hard as they would if you were there. But in our case, not the case at all. So
and we're around a lot too.
Of course.
But we don't have to worry because I feel like they run things exactly as we did and would when we're in the store every day.
Yeah, and they have that pride. So and which has allowed us, freed us up to like search for more product, develop new patterns. Like we have quite a few patterns that came out in the last little while.
Exactly.
So it's been, and then we have our newsletter, which
and get a few other new projects off the ground.
Which has been
great.
good.
Yeah.
So did you want to? Oh, we should also mention that we're starting up knit nights now. Unfortunately, it'll be just for people who live in Montreal.
Local, okay. So February 1st, we're starting this. It's a Thursday night, so every Thursday from 7 to 9. So when Lisa and I first opened the store, we actually had 2 knit nights a week, right?
Yes, and we had a knit along and a knit night.
And knit night, and basically open knit circles almost every day, right?
Yeah.
Like there was always a group hanging around the table, and as we've grown and evolved, and we've made changes, we've tried different things, and so we have a Friday knit circle in store, but it is during daytime hours, so it's not convenient for a lot of people to come, and that's
more of a clinic where there's somebody dedicated to help.
It is a knitting circle. A lot of people come just to knit socially, but it is also, there's a dedicated staff person at the table who is there explicitly to help people with their projects and fixing mistakes and stuff like that. So that's great. The Thursday night knit night that we're bringing back is really just going to be a social knit night. Yeah. It's not, obviously, people will help one another, but it's not
not a clinic per se where
like
people
our Friday.
are right.
Yeah.
So it's a social. Sasha's going to run it for us.
Yeah.
So she's Sasha used to work for us in the store, and then she had a baby, and so then she came back and taught some classes, and she's very excited about being back and doing the Thursday night. So that'll be as of February 1st, like
February
you mentioned.
February 1st was a Thursday,
7 till 9. So anyone,
so come in.
Yeah. Good.
If you live in the area.
If you live there. And so that's what's new for us. Do you want to
guys, our notes are here, so we're just looking down at our
Do you want to talk
notes.
about the newsletter, Melissa?
Okay, so our newsletter. Shortly after we started doing our podcast, we talked about doing these short clin d'œils, which means wink in French, and they were just meant to be short little episodes with a focus on a particular topic. And unfortunately, we have not been very good about doing those.
One day,
but we will get better. But in the meantime, before Christmas, we decided to start a regular newsletter. And I think that's something, we're really good on social media in terms of we post to Facebook all the time, Instagram all the time, Ravelry all the time, Twitter, and our blog, of course. And so people are getting a steady stream of information, but there are many people who don't tune into all of the social media platforms regularly. Right. So we decided to finally just be very professional about it, right? And get organized and really commit to doing sort of a roundup of everything that or many of the things that we posted to social media over the previous weeks. So I think we're hoping to put one out every 2 to 3 weeks. I think 2 weeks is ambitious, but every 2 to 3 weeks.
I thought we said 2 and then we moved it to 3.
Yeah, but we'll see. It depends. Sometimes we have more to report or to share in a shorter period, and then sometimes we have to wait a little bit longer. So it'll be a little bit of a flexible schedule, but it will come regularly.
Yeah. And also it's bilingual, which is great.
And it's bilingual. It goes out in English and French. And if you're interested in receiving it and signing up for it, then we'll add a link to the sign up. To the show notes.
Okay, great. Puis peut-être je pourrais lancer un petit mot en français. Comment on dit newsletter? C'est quoi le nom en français? Je me souviens pas. Toi?
I should know because
you're the one who got it together.
Yeah.
Alors, on va avoir un newsletter qu'on essaie de publier à tous les 2 semaines, mais c'est possible que ça serait plus aux 3 semaines. Infolettre. Merci, super. Alors, ce qu'on essaie de faire, c'est ceux qui sont francophones, que vous allez le recevoir en français. Ceux qui sont anglophones, vous allez le recevoir en anglais. Et là, vous pouvez aussi choisir la langue que vous voulez recevoir, l'infolettre. Alors, on essaie de voir tout ce qu'on a fait sur les plateformes de nos réseaux sociaux et le mettre dans un courriel, dans un infolettre avec des liens que vous pouvez aller cliquer pour aller voir. Alors, si vous n'êtes pas déjà abonné, ça vous tente, vous pouvez, on va mettre un lien dans nos notes après cet épisode, puis vous pouvez cliquer pour aller vous abonner.
And just for people who may not be aware, because it's not always obvious, we do have show notes for every one of our episodes, and they're on our Ravelry discussion group. So usually what I do is underneath in the down bar, underneath the actual podcast screen window is a link to the show notes. So they're easy to find.
Yeah, and you can go there with pictures and all kinds of goodies.
Yeah, and links to all the projects we talk about.
We also had a little housekeeping note about
Oh, right. Our Sunset Highway. We ran a Sunset Highway knit along in November, December, and it was great. There were some really beautiful versions of that sweater that were created. So if you're interested in seeing some, there are so many beautiful Sunset Highways out there. I feel like some of the ones that were done in our group were especially nice. And the winner, we were very late. We were supposed to pick the winner of that knit along on December 22nd, I think. And then in the rush, and we just forgot. Anyway, we picked it up. We picked the winner after the new year, and it was Karen Powell, who is from Ontario. And so she won a skein of Tanis Fiber Arts Red Label, which is that beautiful merino cashmere silk blend.
With a bagu.
With a bagu.
Which I think the sailor stripe.
Oh, yeah.
With the bagu set.
With a set of the 3D zip bags from Bagu for projects. So those have been sent off now. And
that's it.
I guess we'll have to decide if we're going to do another knit along.
So,
or what it will be.
Exactly. You never know with us. That's what keeps it
stay
interesting.
Tuned. We haven't decided.
And then there's another little project that we wanted to share with you. So, there's so much charity knitting that can be done out there, and we've done different things throughout the years. And then we have one of our customers, Cindy Aikman, who works for the St. Mary's Hospital Foundation, which is a hospital here in Montreal. And they were looking for knitters to knit caps for people who are going through chemotherapy. So she put together a pattern, and we have it available in English and French. I'll just show you there. And so she asked our help if we could promote this little project. It's a free pattern, and we're going to be a drop-off. So for those of you who live in the Montreal area, we have the patterns here available at the store. We can also email you the pattern if you're not able to come into the store. So you can just send us an email at info@espacetricot.com, and we can send you out the pattern. And we're going to have a basket here where we're going to collect the caps and then bring them over to St. Mary's. And you can also drop it off yourself. And on the pattern, it gives you all the coordinates for you to be able to drop pop off the hats. And we're gonna do like a little publicity poster, I think, and put it up on our social media. And,
we'll blog it and put it on Instagram.
And what we'll do is can we have the pattern available as a PDF in the show notes?
Definitely,
on Ravelry?
absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So, so just wanted to give a little shout out. And as I mentioned, it's available in English and French. And what's nice is it's just, it's a hat that's done in fingering weight yarn, and it brings a lot of love and
Is it done in
care.
fingering?
Yes, it's done in fingering weight.
Okay.
And like a very soft merino or cotton. Yeah. So you're just giving a little something special to someone who's going through a very difficult time in their life. So just wanted to promote that little project.
Okay.
And then this is our last little intro.
Oh, okay. So very exciting news for us. So we submitted an application to be considered to be a podcaster at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival. They have a special a special aspect to the festival called the Podcaster Lounge, and it's a place where podcasters can go and hang out, and people can come and see them, and you know, to interact with our various audiences, and so I think there's obviously a limited number of spots, and we were thrilled to be chosen. Yeah, very.
Because also it made us say because we've been saying we want to go,
right.
so
we're like we really have to go now. So we are booked, and so we will. That's March 13th. Well, we're flying on the 13th. But we're combining it with we're doing another European tour, right?
So exciting. Just the two of us this time.
The two of us, and we are heading to Edinburgh first, and then we will hit London after the festival. Just
check out the yarn shops and be tourists.
And then H&H, the House and Handarbeit, I think that stands for, is the European trade show for needle arts in Cologne, Germany. So we will, which is actually a city I used to live. So
and I've been there when a friend of mine lived there.
Married,
I got married. We went there.
So Johannes and I and Tristan lived there for I think almost 2.5 years or so. So I am looking forward to going back there and seeing some old friends and tooling around our old neighborhoods and it's a great city. And it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful
city. So and it's our first time going to the H&H show, so we are very interested to see what's different on the scene in Europe.
And what's fun is that the Edinburgh Festival is, you know, a festival that's open to everybody, and it's a yarn festival. And then when we go to H&H, it's a trade. It's a trade show, so you get the other aspect, business and manufacturers and other yarn producers and suppliers and other stores as well. And there is a North American contingent that
does go and displays and events there or shows. So I think that's very exciting. So I think we'll be gone all in all about 2 weeks. Yeah.
So that's so we're just in the middle of finalizing our flights. It's a little bit complicated with going Montreal, Edinburgh, London, Cologne, back to Montreal.
Yeah, but
so
we're
almost
so
there.
complicated that we
can't make it happen.
We're not making it happen exactly.
So what are we wearing, Melissa? She's so colorful. I said she's like ready for spring.
Oh, I'm colorful. Look at you.
Yeah, but I'm all navy and black.
I was
underneath.
saying before we were starting today, I said, Lisa, you know, we're letting our neutral people down. The people who tune in because you and I are never wearing color.
But you're like out there. I'm like
trying.
Still covered, but you're really trying.
I'm trying. I actually I cast this on. This is called the Ranunculus. I don't have the pattern here, but it's by Midori Hirose. Yes, good memory. And I actually started this in the summer when I was on holiday in Germany. In France, and I made really good progress. And it was such a fun project to do. And then I got stuck on Sleeve Island because I like to knit my sleeves on circular needles, and so I used the small 9-inch circulars, and unfortunately they only go up to 5mm or 5.5 millimeter, and this sweater was knit on a 6mm, and really that's all it took to put me on Sleeve Island and keep me there, because I was magic looping the sleeves and it was painful, and so it took a really long time. Anyway, I'm off Sleeve Island. I'm super happy with the sweater. I actually knit it at a slightly tighter gauge, actually a significantly tighter gauge than the pattern called for. I think it calls for a 14 stitch, and mine is, I measured it this morning, it's about 16 and a half, even though I was on the 6mm, which is what it calls for, and which goes to show you that I'm quite a tight knitter. And And so it's, the dimensions of it are smaller. I think if you look at the ranunculus on Ravelry, you'll see that it's a very roomy sweater. But when you're that off gauge, of course, it's a more fitted sweater. But I'm happy with it. The only thing I would change is, you can't really see, but
it's a bit short.
It's like I really got tired of doing this. It was, what do they call that rib lease where it's through the back?
Twisted rib?
Twisted rib.
I was going to say, is that a twisted rib?
Yeah.
It's pretty. It's very pretty.
It's very, very pretty, but whoa, it got tedious. So I cast off and I was like, it's long enough. It's long enough. And I like my stuff cropped, but actually it's a little bit more cropped than I'd want. So I think what I'll do is I'll actually undo the cast off and add another couple of inches, but it's easy to do. It's top down sweater. What I'll mention is that the pattern calls for a tubular cast on at the, you're laughing. You were laughing because we were talking about there's this whole knit truth thing on Instagram. I think Stephen West started the What's Your Knit Truth? And people are recording just little snippets of, what they're, things they're willing to admit to. So my knit truth, I was saying to Lisa, is that whenever I see that whole tubular cast on instruction or tubular cast off in a pattern, like I totally ignore it. Every time. I've never done a tubular cast on. I've never done a tubular cast off. I should. It's a good technique to have.
It doesn't. You're like, no, like right away. You don't even hesitate. That's how confident you are.
Yeah, I'm like.
You're just like, no.
It is not going to create enough of a difference for me to invest the time right now. I just want to cast on my project.
Trust me, I've done it enough times.
I do my long tail cast on.
It doesn't make a difference,
and I'm happy. So.
I think too, it depends what kind of a knitter you are. I think if you tend to be a tighter knitter, your edges tend to be a little bit more even.
Maybe.
So,
and also the long tail cast on is a nice even.
Yeah, it is. Because I mean, I've done it and I've had to redo it, and really, it's most of the time it hasn't been worth it.
Maybe the cast on would be a little bit prettier. I don't know if it was a tubular. But...
I find sometimes when it's a tubular, the stitches stretch. Well, maybe because I'm also a tight knitter.
Oh, well then maybe because I think in the pattern it was actually a little bit bigger, rounder the neck, so maybe that's why my neck was not quite as
because it makes it stretchier. And I find sometimes anyways, for me the stitches get pulled out of shape, whereas when I just do the regular cast on, it's more even cast off. But I think it's because I'm a tight knitter. So and it's funny, I realize that any pattern that says make sure to do this loosely, I should run 10 feet from that pattern because I can't. No matter how much I try, I can, and then it becomes all uneven and it's not nice. So anyways, that's my knitting truth.
Your knitting truth. You can't
loosen up. I just can't.
Funny. Okay, so what are you wearing?
Oh, I'm wearing basic. Actually, it's called is it the Giant Luxury? Is that
one's the Giant Luxury we did with Max.
I've done a gazillion of these, and I've talked about them before. I'm actually knitting one right now. So this is the Giant Luxury Scarf by Pickles, which is just Maxima, Manos Maxima, which is a worsted weight yarn, knit with Silk Cloud. And I didn't do this one. The pattern calls for a very, very loose gauge. I'm pretty sure I did this one on a 10 millimeter. I think it calls for like a 15 millimeter, the pattern. But so it's just basic triangle. But what I love is the color.
It's
fantastic. It's just like that bright pink.
Yeah.
I just thought it was punchy to go with all my my darkness.
Your darkness.
It gives me some light within the darkness. But I have.
It's nice. It's cheerful to put that on in gray winter days.
It's actually the first time I put. Last winter I wore it a lot, but this winter I guess I've been in darkness, and now I'm seeing the light. So it's
this
very
used to be
cozy.
A free pattern, Elise?
Yes, it used to be a free pattern. Now it's not. It's a paid pattern by Pickles.
Yeah.
But what's nice is whether you get the Giant or the simple, just the simple luxury, it's the exact same pattern. Yeah. And I've knit. I have 3 in the large.
Yeah.
And I have 3 in the small, and I'm actually making another one.
I think I have 2. I did mine in like a soft gray in the large, and it's so cool because whenever I wear it, it looks like a big suit, like a chainmail.
Yes. Yeah. And Françoise was just telling me the other day, she goes, "Oh, I got to knit myself another one because it's one of those patterns that it's easy to wear. You don't have to worry. So I have a couple of colors. It's fast to knit up, easy to wear, and I have to say it's just like super super cozy. So I really like it,
and it's easy, and
it's like a no-brainer. Very very good social knitting if you need some social knitning.
And it's dramatic.
Yes, it's true, eh? Especially if you do it the open, like the chainmail style, it gives more dramatic. But I'm more like j'ai les fesses serrées, comme on dit en français. And I just want to actually apologize before I continue because I'm clearing my throat a lot.
Because, I didn't even notice.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Now you're going to notice.
Now exactly, and so will everyone else.
Exactly. So I've had. it's funny. Ever since Christmas, I'm better, but I still have some phlegm there, so I apologize ahead of time.
Oh, nice. We want to. You don't want to say that word on a podcast, please.
But it's in there. You'll edit that out for me. Okay. So that's what I'm wearing.
Okay.
And that's what you're wearing.
Yeah.
So we're moving right along to finished objects.
Okay. So the ranunculus is something that got finished, and then I actually Instagrammed this. This is I should have printed a picture of it. Hey, Lise, where are those pictures I printed? Oh, here.
You have.
Okay, so but she in this one. So I printed this because I was going to show the shawl that I'd like to make. But in this picture, she happens to be wearing the Kobuk hat, which is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter, and Caitlin Hunter is the designer of so many popular patterns, but in particular the Sunset Highway that people would know about, or the Ninilchik swancho.
It's Hossein. I'll go.
Oh, okay. And so this is the Kobuk hat that I knit for my sister for Christmas, and it turned out so beautifully, and it was such a fun knit. I cast it on thinking it was going to be a super, super quick knit, and while it was a relatively quick knit, it is charted, and there are some interesting stitches that you have to do. And so it's not like you're going to knit it in a day. It took a couple of days. But it was super fun. It has bobbles. And I knit this with a combination of Arbor, Brooklyn Tweed Arbor, and Kid Silk Haze. So I think the Arbor was in the... Lise, what was another color? Cobbler. Cobbler, and the Kid Silk Haze in Black Currant. And so it's Kid Silk Haze is slightly thicker than Silk Cloud, Shibui Silk Cloud. So I have to say it has even more of a halo.
Yeah, it has more of a fuzz, I find, when you knit with Kid Silk Haze.
Exactly. And then I topped it with one of our recycled Harikana.
It really blooms, eh? It's amazing.
Yeah,
how much it
these
blooms.
ones, this particular shipment was great. Anyway, my sister loves it. I think she wears it, so I guess that's a sign that she liked it, and she's very knit-worthy, so that was a good one. And in fact, when I finished it, I actually wanted to keep it.
Yeah, well, I remember you saying that.
I think I took a picture of myself and posted it to Instagram.
I'm not sure if I talked about it last time, but it was fun when the last time I went to pick up our pom-pom order at Harikana here on Jean Talon. I saw the girl making the pom-poms. So she had like all the coats, and then she was...
Oh, was she cutting them?
Yeah, she was cutting them. So she had a big box of coats, and she was cutting them and sewing them and putting the stuffing. So it was really fun to see her make them. And I made a hat as well. That's supposed to be for myself, but it's a little there's a tag on it. So I said, let me leave it at the store for a little while. So this is the worm. So this is, I tend to be a creature of habit. I've already knit a few worms, but they were different colors. So I decided that I needed to go one color.
Well, what's hilarious about this is Lisa picked blue, but it really looks
black.
like black.
Midnight blue.
Midnight blue. That's black.
Because I'm in a blue phase, dark blue, medium blue, no light blues though. So I love the worm. I knit this with Mayak in the medium weight, which is a worsted weight, but it can go to DK. Like I knit it on a tight needle. I think it was
because it looks very dense.
I did it on a 4 millimeter, and I did it I did the brim on a 3.5, and I did the body on a 4. And I really like this brim. It's a folded over brim. Sorry, there's a little. The first time you do the fold over brim is a little bit scary because you knit and then you do a purl row and then you knit and then you have to fold it over and then pick up.
Yeah, and that purl row is the turning row.
Yeah, right? The purl row is the turning row, and then you have to pick up. And at the first time, you're like, I don't know, am I getting it? Mm-hmm. But after you've done it a few times, it becomes second nature. Because you've made a
few of these now.
Yes, right? Exactly. Yeah. So I really like that, and it gives the thicker brim warmer for the. I wanted this to be a warm hat, and also it doesn't stretch out as much. Mm-hmm. I find sometimes when I do a hat that's just a 1x1 rib, it stretches a little more. I'm really like particular, and I'm frileuse, and I know I say this all the time. It's like,
she's so cute.
I know je m'assume. I know who I am. I know I've said that many times. So I don't always look the best, but I always feel great now.
You always look the best.
Oh, you're so great. You're so sweet. But I decided
but this hat looks really good on you.
It's pretty good.
It's a nice shape.
And I have to say I made peace with that because I was always like, this looks better on me, but I'm not warm.
But this is a stylish hat. Like this.
Yes, no, it is. Yeah. No, yeah, it is. But I'm just saying that there's other patterns that I like, but then I realized that
Sometimes
it's
she's
not gonna be
function
work.
over form is what she's saying.
You're right, exactly. I'm much more functional. So, and also I knit less repeats. Anyways, everything's on the
Was it less
Ravelry
you
notes.
did?
Yes.
So you made it a little shorter.
I made it a little shorter
so
because
it's
I
not
didn't
a
want
slouch.
I didn't want too much of a slouch. Let's see. See, it's not, it's
cute.
just a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
and your pom-poms, you know.
Because
straight
also
up.
sometimes I want to put my capuchon on my jacket when it's really cold.
So not have it too.
I didn't want too much bulk.
Yeah.
Like lots of thought went into knitting this hat.
Do you want to model this one?
Okay, and this is also a Haricana pom-pom
Yes,
that
aren't they
have on
great?
there. They're so nice. Okay. Is there a... Okay, this is my stylist.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Yeah.
He looks great too. So this one's a little slouchier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
It's
really
good,
nice.
right?
Yeah. See, and it's funny because it's very cute. I love the color. Oh, the color looks good on me too. There you go. This hat I'll have to
Yeah,
lend it
you'll
to
have
us.
to make one too.
I also have hats for different temperatures, so I
Yeah.
have depending on how cold it is. So that's my finish. Do you have something else that's finished, Melissa?
I wish I did.
Oh yeah, but you have lots of things on the go. I have this. It's kind of
Look at
finished.
you with the broken wrist and
I
you have more
know.
finished
Oh,
objects
yeah.
than I do.
This was hard because I had to purl, so it's not perfectly even because my purling was hard.
It looks perfectly even
Well,
for
you're
those
too
of
nice.
you who can't see. It's
But
perfect.
when I was purling, I kept going into the stitch under the stitch on the needle. I'm like, oh, there I go again, because it's the different motion. The knitting, because of the way my wrist is going this way, so knitting is easier. Purling, I have to
So that's actually especially good therapy then.
It's very good therapy, but it took me a little longer to knit it. So I finished my half mitered by Himawari. Oh, I didn't say who the worm was by.
Oh.
It is by Katushika.
Okay.
And then by half mitered by Himawari Knits. So, but I haven't done it's like I did it, but I haven't put on the tassels.
Okay.
So
It's almost finished.
it's
then.
almost finished.
Still have a couple ends to sew in.
So I had to wet block it because this was the pattern that said, make sure you do your edges loosely. And I was like, oh my God, how stressful is that? But I was able to block them out pretty straight. I have to say, before it was blocked, it was like a half moon. I'm like, oh, I'm never going to get it into a triangle. But I did. I managed to get it.
Great.
So this is in Julie Asselin DK in the Pixel colorway.
Which Lisa had to order from a different store.
Well, Julie told me she had a good chuckle with the store owner. The store owner had seen our podcast and they had a good chuckle about that. And Julie's like, I would have dyed it for you. I'm like, I know, but I didn't want to disturb you. So she's actually coming out with she changed all her dyes to be more environmentally friendly, conscious. So she said she's working on one that is like Pixel. She might call it pixelated or something similar. Yeah. So this is a colorway that you will eventually be able to get. But I mean, this will look great in any colorway. Yeah. So this was my...
and I think that the tassels will make the whole thing.
So I'll wear it on our next podcast.
There we go.
Then it'll be officially finished. But this was my therapy project. And I did it.
Beautiful.
And it's great. Thank you so much. So, and it's gray, but it's got some little pops of color in it.
Oh, it's so pretty.
So that's so I blocked that last night and sewed in the ends this morning as I was waiting for my physiotherapist. So I was like, I don't think I'll get the tassels done.
Are these ends just because you're going to attach the tassels?
Exactly.
Okay.
These ends are for the tassels. Okay. So, and that took me 3 skeins of the Julie Asselin Les DK. Nice. Which we placed a big order, which we'll be getting soon.
Okay, so hopefully we'll have something similar in terms of pixelation.
Okay, so then, I guess I have another finished object.
You have several, don't you?
God, I'm on fire. Where are my crochet baskets?
Lisa. I remember last year I tried to get you interested in crochet.
I said I'm never going to crochet.
Never.
And then Mona made me this really nice basket. Well, she made one for me and one for Melissa for Christmas. Yeah. I'm like, I always wanted a crochet basket.
Aren't they great?
And Mona's like, well, I just did the Church Mouse Yarns crochet basket pattern.
Next thing I know, Lisa's
I went to Michael's
baskets.
I went to Michael's and bought yarn.
Ordering the crochet yarn for the store.
So it was funny. It was
great.
It was Christmas Eve, and I was coming home from my cousin's house, and it was 4:00. I'm like, Sean, there's a Michael's close by. Can we stop? Because we didn't have the yarn.
4:00 in the morning?
No, in the afternoon.
Stores were Michael's 24 hours now, or what?
They were closing at 5.
Okay.
And I'm like, because I think I'm getting sick, and maybe I'll crochet while I get. Oh, that's what I was doing. I was crocheting.
Okay.
So, anyways, so we stopped, and I got myself.
Is this your first one?
Yes, this is my first one. So we stopped and I got myself a ball of the yarn, and then I was just like addicted. So this is one that I did.
Sweet.
It's pretty good. I thought this was my first one. And then I made this one a little bit longer. And
So what did you do? Was there a crochet tutorial? Or did you watch a YouTube video?
Yeah, so what happened was we do this Star Wars marathon between Christmas
Yeah.
and New Year. So it's like I've seen it a few times now.
Yeah.
So I had YouTube on mute next to me as
We did
we're
the
watching.
Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah. So we're watching Star Wars, and I had it on mute, and I'm like, okay. I looked at the pattern, and basically you need to know how to do a single crochet,
Yeah.
a turning row.
Okay.
That's all you needed to know, and increase. So basically, increase is 2 single crochets in the same spot.
one. Okay.
And then it said to make a crochet chain. That's all I knew how to do because of provisional cast on.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, oh, maybe there's a nicer way. And then I just Googled magic ring, crochet a magic circle or a magic ring to show you how to start.
Okay.
So I Googled them and I watched them on mute. And I just learned the skills.
Okay.
And because as a knitter, you understand what a stitch looks like. And so basically it's single crochet with increases. And then you do this turning row and then you just single crochet.
Perfect.
It was really, really easy. And then I did one in black.
So now we're using them in the store as
Displays.
a little accessory displays.
And then we bought the yarn.
reasons,
So we're selling the
Yeah.
yarn. So with
Do
one...
we have any skeins of it here?
I should go and get it
Anyway,
over there.
it's just, it's Bernat. It's the Bernat home decorating.
Homemaker's
home deck.
Yeah. And with one,
Which
so I
is-
made these 2, and I made 2 more with one ball.
And I think they're 250 gram
Yes.
balls, right?
Yeah.
Or 150 gram.
No, so we have 2 kinds. It's kind of silly. It's the same yarn, but some colors come in like 115 grams or
Yeah.
something, and the big ones come in 250.
Okay.
So the cream is in the 250. So I made 4 baskets, about one a little bit bigger, one a little bit smaller, with one ball.
Okay.
And they're so addictive. Eh?
Yeah.
Like you
And
do
they're
it in a
fast.
few hours.
Yeah.
So now actually I'm teaching the kids at school how to crochet.
Perfect.
So that was really fun. It's the Church Mouse yarns.
And actually,
crochet
since we Instagrammed your baskets, a lot of our yarn is already sold out. So
we have to place another order this week. Well, hopefully it'll be here before.
by the time this
So
goes live.
I have to say it was really fun. Ça m'a changé les idées un peu. Change the flow of what I was doing.
and also good therapy, right?
Yeah, and I think that's really what got me into doing it was
Yeah.
that I was using my wrist in a different way.
Yeah.
So
Good.
So those are all my finished objects.
All right. So works in progress. Okay. So this one I've been talking about for a while. So it's obviously it's been a bit of a slow slog. So I'm working on a second Hayward, and my first Hayward. This is a pattern by Julie Hoover. So this was one that I made. Oh, when did I make it? I must have finished it in the summer. Yeah, I finished it on holiday in the summer as well. And so this is knit with Brooklyn Tweed Loft. And I think this is the cast iron colorway. And I loved it so much. I wear it to death. And so I said the only thing that it needs is a white
Sister.
companion. Exactly. So this is in the fossil colorway. So I'm knitting exactly the same sweater, exactly the same way in the loft in the fossil colorway. I've modified the pattern a little bit. I've talked about it on previous podcasts, but it's actually, the pattern calls for you to knit it in 2 pieces, front and back, and I opted to knit it in the round. So all I've done is I put in sort of a purl stitch there to give a faux seam. And so what I did was I think I added the number of stitches, because it's the same number of stitches for front and back, so I just doubled and then subtracted 4 stitches that I wouldn't need for the
Seaming.
the seaming. And then I'm knitting to whatever length I need to, and then I will knit the front and the back separately, and then the sleeves, and then it all comes together at the top. So it is actually a relatively quick knit. It is a fingering weight yarn, but it's knit at a loose gauge. I think it's 21 stitches, so a loose gauge for a fingering. And so it...
And it's probably, Melissa, a good pattern. If some of you have never done a flat pattern and switched to knit it in the round, it's probably a good one to try that technique with, right?
Yes, very much.
So then that'll give you the confidence to do it for other patterns as well.
Exactly. So that's my one.
Go ahead, do the next one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, let's alternate, Lise.
Okay, well, because you have, okay, well, whoa, very original. I have a simple luxury scarf. So I'm actually doing, this is the first time I'm doing it with Lusso. So look at that, it's blue. So I'm doing it with, what yarn am I using? Am I using tennis? No. Oh my goodness, what yarn am I using? Is that so?
Is it Artful
No, it's
Solo?
No, it's Madeline Tosh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Madeline Tosh Light. I think it's... for some reason, I think I wrote here Tanis.
Oh, yeah?
Let's go. Okay. Well, I'll get back to you on the next podcast because it might be a finished object by then.
Okay.
So it's a Madeline Tosh blue color. I want to say Dr. Zhivago Sky, but
that does look a little bit like that.
But I'm not exactly sure. And I'm doing with loose sew in blue what it is. And I'm using, we've talked about these needles, which I found when I was in Germany last year. They're Prim ergonomic needles. And I really love this tip. I mean, I'm shocked at how much I like this tip for going in and doing my increases.
Nice.
Like, I just feel like, oh my God, it's so easy.
I tried them the other day.
Yeah,
I have to say,
are they not for you?
Well, what I did like that about them a lot, but it took so much getting used to the lightness of them.
Oh yeah.
So if if you have any problems with your hands, so apart from just being super ergonomic and making it easier to go into the stitches, they're very light in your hands. Right. But I'm so used to my Addies, that it felt a bit strange. I like the weight, the solidity of the.
And I find that's true. Like if you've been knitting on, it's like when you knit with big needles, and then your next project is small needles. It's awkward, and I find that too when I switch from one set to another.
Okay.
But I guess because of my injury, it's been good. But the cord is really nice. I have to say, it's like a coated cable, like a metal cable. Anyway, so I've been enjoying them for this project. The problem with these is that they launched them last year at H&H, but they had some production issues, so they haven't been readily available. So we do have some sizes, but all the smaller sizes, like 4mm and under, they're not available. So they said hopefully...
It's a bit frustrating.
Yeah, they said hopefully February, but we don't know. But we do have the bigger size. And I'm doing this one on an 8mm. The pattern calls for a 9, but I wanted it a little tighter. So that's what I'm working on. Okay.
You know, Lisa, as you're talking, I just realized that I never talked about what I knit my ranunculus with.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
And so I knit that with the Tosh Prairie, Madeline Tosh Prairie, which is 100% merino lace weight yarn, and I combine it with the Shibui Silk Cloud, of course.
Of course.
And this is what's left over of one skein of Prairie.
Yeah.
Like it took less than a skein.
That's amazing,
for a
eh?
sweater.
That's what's nice about lace weight is you get so much yardage, and it doesn't feel like a lace weight sweater because you've combined it.
Exactly. With the Silk Cloud,
Yeah.
it's great. So we'll
this one here. You still have 2 more.
All right. So I'm knitting something. I am a one-trick pony, people. I am knitting something called Mira Mesnil, again, stranded with Silk Cloud.
That kind of looks a little like the Hayward.
Actually,
no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't have the wings.
It's not sort of a raglan style at all. Anyway, so the pattern actually gives you 3 different options. It's called Mira Mesnil by Cleonis.
Yeah,
I think it's called. And I am stranding Debbie Bliss, or I say stranding. That makes it sound like color work, but it's not. I'm holding a strand of Debbie Bliss fine Donegal with Kid Silk.
And that's interesting because you've instead of matching it, you're going black rather than doing a brown.
So just to take the color down a little bit. And when I cast it on, I was thinking of going with this one, and now I'm kind of playing with doing the tunic. I'm not sure. I probably will do this one. It gives you lots of different options for if you want to do a pleat here, if you want to do different length, if you want to have the bell sleeves, 3/4 length or full length, and then I think this one doesn't have the bell at all. So, and then you can just mix and match, depending on what version you want or what aspects of it you like. And so this is how my Debbie Bliss in the bark colorway looks, stranded with the black.
It really changes. It's really great.
I love it so much.
It really changes the look of the color.
And so it's beautiful because you get that halo, and then you also see the tweed. So I'm really looking forward.
It's a nice texture.
I want to finish this in time for Edinburgh Yarn Fest. Mark my words, it will be finished.
Okay. So that's it. So that's it for what we have in progress.
Yeah.
And we have some new Espace Tricot patterns that we created.
Okay.
Getting warmer hat.
All right.
Getting warmer.
Okay, so before Christmas, I don't remember if it was November, might have been November, I wrote up, it was a couple podcasts ago anyway, the Getting Warmer cowl.
And that was amazing. So popular.
Yeah, so
lots
that
of
was
traction.
done with the Woolfolk Luft. And super popular, surprisingly so, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's, I feel like, well, you do something and you put it out there and you have no idea, right? You never know what's going to strike a chord.
You know what? Okay, I'm gonna make a joke, but this looks like a wood-burning pizza oven from Italy. Or a beehive.
That's the Italian in you.
Yeah, or some kind of stone thing that you find in.
Oh, like a chimney or some sort of.
It's beautiful though. I like it.
Anyway, so what's nice about this is, of course, is that it sits on your shoulders, but it stays up on your neck, so it's super cozy, and it stays warm and it stays in place. And I designed it with the Woolfolk Luft, and that turned out to be a really difficult yarn to keep in stock because it sold out, but they didn't have a lot of it. Woolfolk didn't seem to be able to produce enough of it
for the demand.
To be able to get it as often as we would like. So we kept reordering it, and we get a lot of the colors, but we don't get the
black.
I
of
think
course, it's been back. Yeah, it's been back ordered, and their last shipment came in, but they had some people still hadn't gotten their first shipment, so they got it. And so we're on a list.
So we're on a waiting list for I think we've had 2 or 3 shipments since we put that pattern out. However, not always with the black. So then we decided to knit, develop a matching hat pattern to go with the cowl, and so it's called the Getting Warmer hat, and it just mimics the ribbing at the bottom of the cowl and the garter stitch, and it's a slightly slouchy hat. But this one we decided to do in the Woolfolk Far so that we wouldn't run into the same issues with the yarn supply. So
can we try that one out?
Yeah, sure. Model that.
I get paid extra for all my modeling.
Again,
look,
super easy.
The color's
to
just
wear.
perfect on me. Is it good,
Madame
Stylist?
You've got your seam here. The seam should go in the back.
Should go in the back. Oh, you see, Melissa's my stylist. She needs to dress me in the morning.
There.
Okay, merci, madame.
There we go.
There we go. Now all is right in the world.
So easy. 2 skeins of Woolfolk Far, and it really is a simple hat.
And you can put a pom-pom if you decide.
You can put a pom-pom if you want. This one has a little bit more slouch. You can do it less slouch. And I think we knit to 7 inches before we started the decreases. So if you wanted a little bit less, you could go to 5.5 or so.
And it's a free pattern?
Pattern.
Has it been translated?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
But it will be.
It's on the list.
So that's called the Getting Warmer hat.
So the Flying Solo, this got some nice traction as well on Ravelry. So the Flying Solo is a cowl. So what happened was we had an event with Artfil. So Yana and Stan came in. And then as they were leaving, I saw Stan put this on. And I'm like, oh my God, Stan, that's amazing. What is that? So Yana's like, oh, it's done in Artfil Solo double-stranded. So you have two of the same color, and then you drop one, and then you pick up another color, and then 2 of the same, and then drop one and pick up another, and then 2 of the same. So when I saw Stan with this, and then I said, okay, that's an amazing pattern. And what I love about this, maybe I should try it on, is that I like when a cowl opens, because it bothers me when a cowl just sits on my neck and then there are gaps. So what I really loved about this one was that
it's like a dickie.
Yeah, it's basically a dickie. Yeah, people seem to not like it when you say dickie, but
really, well, because it's reminiscent of childhood things they had to wear.
And it's so nice, and it just like it covers you, and when it's in your coat, and you don't have to worry if you have a little bit of a V-neck or a boat neck. It's really great. And so I said, oh Yana, this is amazing. She goes, I'm so embarrassed, I knitted fast and the cast off isn't nice and I don't want to give it to. I'm like, okay Yana, just give us the cowl, we'll reknit it and we'll make it into a pattern.
Design it,
and you'll be the designer.
Things, yeah.
So she was super excited because we did the work of reknitting it and taking photographs and writing it up as a pattern. But Yana's the designer, so she gave us permission to print it to publish it as an Espace Tricot pattern,
as a free pattern.
But she's the designer and she has the pattern as well. So it's so cute. And what I like about it, it's totally unisex.
It stays up there too, and so it's nice because you get coverage down lower because it is split. It does have a split hem,
and then in the back,
and exactly.
And if you wanted to make this longer, you can make it longer. You
and it stays up on your neck too, which is really
great.
Nice.
And it's totally unisex. Yeah. Stan was wearing this one with. Yeah. I think what got us was the colors.
So, and then we had a big delivery of Madeline Tosh just before the holidays, I think. And so we received Tosh Light, Vintage, DK, Vintage is the worsted weight, and ASAP. Anything else? ASAP is the Tosh single ply, super bulky.
I think that's it.
Yeah. And
so beautiful with a nice coat.
Yes, exactly.
Very stylish, very runway.
But it is really
Picture yourself walking down with your coat open, the scarf flaring in the wind.
It is super long.
Look at that.
Unfortunately, these are not my. The gray is okay, but the yellow is not my color. But and so it goes around and around and ties and
you can let it hang loose, or you can tie it up tight.
And it's so soft and cozy.
And
so this
fast. was
nice. Yes. And
so this is a bit of intarsia, right, Melissa?
Yes, exactly. Just intarsia and garter. So you'll see that you're carrying up your yarns on the back. And so I think it was 3 skeins of the gray that I used, and 1 in your contrast color. Super simple. So if you need like a nice, fun, dramatic, long Doctor Who-like scarf, then, and I called it Fast Track because it had this sort of racing stripe on it, but also because it knits up super fast because it's super bulky yarn. So
I like those.
So that was a fun one.
Now this one, I'm thinking maybe we've already talked about it, Melissa. I don't know if we've talked about this blanket before.
I think we talked about the fact that you were going to knit it. I don't know if we talked about it because I think we published it just before the holidays, right?
Oh, maybe. So this is another finished project, technically.
There we go.
So it's called the Cozy Up Blanket, and it's like, seriously, it's just garter, and it's
but come on, it's so
Mondo.
Nice.
It's Mondo, right? Cascade Mondo.
Cascade Mondo, yeah.
And it's just one ball of 4 different colors. And you know what I like about this? It seems small, but it stretches.
Yeah.
So as you use it stretches.
Mold around you on the sofa,
exactly.
right?
I think it's US 50, which is 25 millimeter, right? And so it's not meant to be a huge blanket. It's meant to be like a little bit of a throw, cozy up, like you said, while you're watching TV. And it's been the past couple of years, big chunky yarns have been very popular. But
the Loopy Mango,
and the other one, the Bagsmith one that's out of business now that they've closed down. But what I noticed is that sometimes those yarns are good, but sometimes the thicker yarns don't hold up as well. And what was nice about the Mondo is that it has some nice structure. Yeah. So it holds up. It's fuzzy.
It's applied yarn.
It's fuzzy because there's alpaca there, so it has some fuzziness. But it's applied yarn, like you said,
and
so
it's
it
a
holds
woolen
up.
Alpaca, yeah.
It holds up a little bit better. And I mean, if like I'm a bit of a tighter knitter, if you knit it, it'd probably be. I mean, not you, but normal people, it would probably be a little bit looser.
Bigger.
So it's just really warm and cozy, and it's to snuggle up on the couch.
There we go.
Super easy to do, and it's kind of fun with those big needles. It goes fast. I mean, you do this in a few hours, and you're done. So it's like, oh, it's a cold night. Let me knit the blanket, and as you're knitting it, it's on you, so you're warming yourself as you're knitting it,
which is so nice.
Yeah. So that's I think, and there's one more, Melissa, that we have.
Yeah, so this one hasn't actually been published yet, but hopefully it'll be up by the time this podcast airs. I called it the cooler side of warm, and I called it that because I added some jewel silver hardware to it,
to make
it
it cool,
kind of edgy. And so this one is sort of like a mashup, I would say, between a couple of our patterns. So we've got a split hem just on one side, and otherwise it sort of wraps around. It's closed on this side, and then it switches from a 1x1 rib into stockinette with some decreases, not spiral decreases, just decreases on the sides, and then it goes into a 1x1 rib at the top again. And then, I mean, this is sort of decorative, but it allows you to have it down on one side and up on the other as you're wearing it. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Oh, you have one on.
Okay. You want to fix me?
Oops. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. What's great about these is they're closures that you screw on.
And you can use it to tighten up
if you want it to be tighter.
A little warmer.
What you do is so what's nice is that the clasp here, you snap, so you unsnap it and then you snap it. But what you can do is
you can place your buttons further apart.
Right. So this is just a screw. You unscrew it and then screw it in a different place in the fabric.
So these closures are great from Jewel Silver.
Yeah.
Jewel Designs. I always say Jewel.
Well, because she was Jewel Silver when she first opened, and then she changed.
I think we've demonstrated these before, but I'm just going to show this one.
And I mean, these are closures you can also use on sweaters, but it's great for a cowl sometimes you just want an open look, and then on those cold days you want it tighter. So you would just screw it further apart so that you would get a better
So
closure.
this is one side. So it has a little post. And so you just take it where you want it. You put it through your stitches. And then you want to put the little leather disc that it comes with on the other side to protect your knitting. And then you just take your screw and put it back in. And so that makes them totally removable, and you can move them from project to project. And also move them and adjust them.
I mean,
depending on how much you want
it sounds like like we're an infomercial, but it's such an amazing design because
totally genius.
so many times it's like you have a closure and then you're like, oh, I should have put it further, so
Yeah,
you're
or
too
my-
lazy
or
to
my thing is
unsew
too
it.
big, and
Or the buttonhole's not working anymore. So that's what I love about those.
like I think
is
we
that-
used one of these on the garter gaiter that we knit from
Yes. Yeah.
Tosh, right? So
Yeah.
it was a great big, also done with ASAP, it's super bulky, but it was just a little bit too floppy at the neck, and I like to have things up at the neck, so I just took one of those and
Put it on.
and tightened it up, and then all of a sudden it becomes a nice fitted turtleneck. So they're just really good for helping you adjust your the fit of your various things that you knit. So this one will be out soon, and our version will be knit with the Woolfolk Far.
I like that, the burgundy too. It's really
Yeah.
nice.
Projects?
But
Are
now we
you,
have finished store
Espace Tricot
samples.
samples?
Maybe we
Okay.
should. What do you think? We should go through these just a little more quickly, or
Yes, because all the details. Okay, we will go through these quickly because all the details will be on the Ravel. In fact, all of these are already up on Ravelry,
Yes.
so all the details will be there, and we'll link to them in the show notes. So if we made any mods, if we did anything in particular,
Yeah, it's
that
all
you should
there.
About, it will all be
yeah,
there.
and all the yarn we used and all that. So
Okay.
did we
Oh,
take?
I don't even have the crosshatch.
Okay, you talk about that one.
Okay, so this one, Stephanie Earp,
Yes.
one of our consultants, just finished knitting for us. I think we mentioned that we were going to be knitting this one up.
We did say we were.
Yeah, and so and it turned out great. It turned out even better than we imagined. So this is knit with the Sweet Georgia Yarns Prismatic
Which is a tough love sock.
Yeah, Tough Love sock.
Then they come
In
in.
the
I'm
mini
sorry.
yarn
They
set.
just like look at the
I
cutest
know.
little box.
So pretty.
So fun.
So I think it's 12 colors.
Yeah, I believe it is.
I say that every time, but then I have to count.
No, I think I
because
counted them
4,
last
5,
time.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is 12. So 12, and then we combined it with Artfill Bell in the White Sands colorway, which was a nice. It's very squishy.
Very, very squishy.
And so, if you want to do the colors in the same order we did, again, you can.
And what we did at the end is we just finished once we finished all the
last.
12. We just continued in White Sands to the end.
We debated whether or not we were going to continue, start repeating again, because obviously we didn't use much of the greens and purples right at the beginning, and so we could have probably gotten some stripes out of them at the end. But then we thought, no, we would just continue with the gray and let that be the end. So we wound up using one kit and two
White
skeins of
Sands.
the bell. Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
details on Ravelry.
So this is the crosshatch, and this one was knit by Carla for us, and the designer is Benjamin Matthews, and we did it with Manos Maxima, which is the same yarn I used here, but obviously knit at a tighter gauge with the Lang Viva.
That's right.
So it's really fun. It's nice color work. It's the stripes, and then you have the little ribbing here, and then this one has tassels. So this is what my half mitered is going to look like with tassels at the end. So this is a nice fun one as well.
Yeah.
And it's a good introduction if you want to work with some color.
Yeah.
And the tassels just give it that modern look, you know.
Yeah. And it's easy to wear and tie.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And there's some punchy colors, or we did it in a bit of a more pastel-y palette. And then there's some punchy colors. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's the crosshatch. Then we have the Bonner hat.
This one? Mm-hmm. So this is what you want to talk about that one?
So the Bonner hat is a pattern by Sarah Solomon, and it's done in the Mayak in the medium weight. So
Which is a worsted weight.
It's the same yarn actually that I did my worm in.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's funny because we got the yarn when we were at TNA last year, but we were waiting for our order to come in. So we've had the sample for quite a while.
It's so nice.
It's so. I mean, people touch the Mayak and they think
so
it's
soft.
cashmere.
Yeah,
I mean,
soft.
Well, who says that a baby yak can't be as luxurious as
Absolutely
cashmere?
not.
Seriously.
The thing to keep in mind, though, is it doesn't necessarily feel that way while you're knitting
No.
it. It's really something
Yeah.
that needs to be wet blocked and allowed to bloom.
Yeah.
But when it does, my goodness, it's divine.
I have to say, like touching this versus
Yeah.
touching the skein.
No, it's completely different.
This feels a little stringier.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my God.
But you just have to give it the block.
And you know what? We've had this longer than my worm, and this is softer than my worm because we've had it and we've touched it, and it's been worn more.
Did you wet block your worm?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so
There you go.
it'll bloom a little bit more. Yeah.
So really a beautiful yarn. This is one of those yarns where it has a rustic look. It has like, we were talking about that rustic yarns, but
Yeah.
there's such a softness to it.
Yeah.
It's one of these yarns where it's worth treating yourself.
And these cables. I mean, if you're up for a little challenge, you want to get into cables,
Yeah,
but you don't
do it
want
with
to
a
take on a
hat.
huge sweater. I mean, Michelle Wong has so many spectacularly beautiful patterns that are very cable heavy, sweaters, jackets, and she's just come out with a whole new line for Mayak actually. And if you just want to dip your toe in, you haven't done a big cabled project, just dip your toe in with a hat.
And it's
so
because
this is
there's
Sarah Solomon,
different kind of cables, so
Yeah.
it gives you you get to
so
practice
you're
a
gonna
lot of
track
different
a couple
cables.
of charts exactly. And so this one was knit for us by Emma.
Yes, our web store master.
Yes.
Okay, so
And I just wanted to show just some of the beautiful colors that are available in Mayak. And of course, there's black and navy in the standards as well, but these are just so beautiful in autumnal.
okay, we have the groovy right there hanging up, Melissa.
Oh,
So, okay, the groovy. This is another one where we've talked about and we've done it
because
tons
we've done
of
this
times.
a million times.
But it just to show you this pattern is great with every yarn. So we did this in the Cashluck Sparkle by Sweet Georgia. Who
You
knit
see
this
the
one for us?
spark?
I forget who knit this one for us.
Amelia.
Amelia knit it.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's really like, this was sort of like, a nice, like a party.
Yeah, this was
party
sort of,
sweater, a party
imagine
shawl.
this being sort of something you'd wear during the festive
Yes.
season. And so this is Cashluck Spark,
you
and we
see
have
the
it in
little
lots of different
sparkle?
colors. And I would not just wear that. I wouldn't relegate
No,
that to...
of course not.
If you just want to add a little sparkle
Yeah.
to...
But our inspiration
but
was
what's nice
the
is that,
colors.
you combine sort of a fancy yarn with a very simple pattern. So this is Groovy by Annie Baker. I think she also goes by Jumper Cables.
Yes, I
Knitting
always
on-
call her Jumper Cable.
Yeah, on Ravelry. And we have knit this a million times.
A million times. And we I personally have 3 of them.
I know, and I think I have one too, but it's now in the store.
Oh yeah,
here all the
and
time
I
with
knit
it.
2 for gifts also.
Yeah.
So it's like it's an amazing pattern, and it's not fussy, but with a beautiful yarn, it's just so pretty.
Yeah,
Little sparkle.
a little sparkle.
Apparently, you always need a little bit of sparkle. I forget who told us that, but someone told us.
Oh,
that.
really?
This one was knit by Françoise, who is our store manager.
Oh,
And
look how pretty
I
that
mean,
is.
what a beautiful pattern. And this was a class, actually. And this is from the Building with Lace collection by Skassel. They came out with the building
wanna show the
blocks,
back, maybe?
building in color and building with lace. So that just gives you some different color examples. So it is designed by Michelle Hunter of Knit Pearl Hunter, but for Skassel. And Skassel is the company that distributes the Addy needles here in North America. And
wanna hold this,
yeah,
please?
I'll hold it.
So what's nice about this is that it's just a modular way of learning all these
Yeah.
different lace stitches.
Yeah.
So it's knit from end to end, and every panel is just. I think the other ones, the knitting with color, the blocks of color, and
The color one is strips, so it's
strips,
modular.
right? And the other one
Is squares.
squares that you put, but you have to put them all together. So
Yes.
this one was a little bit different in the
Yeah.
sense that it was just all knit as one piece.
Yeah, the other 2 you
different
have to put
panels.
together.
Yeah. And are the beads at both ends or just one?
I don't know.
You can
I have
see
a
you
feeling
guys.
it's just, yes, the beads are at both ends. And you also learn how to do beading.
Exactly. And this one is knit with Julia Fino in the Olea colorway, which we have on order, you guys.
And I
because it
really,
is very
I mean, Michelle Hunter does a really great job. She has a whole bunch of videos to tutorials to help you, and the 3 books she has, which are building blocks, and then building in color, and then this one in lace, are fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, if you kind of if you were a beginner knitter, an intermediate knitter, following these 3 books, you would learn so many techniques.
So many new techniques. It's
So
true.
it's really fun. So we really highly recommend those. And then we have the pine bough cowl.
Oh, which we didn't get.
Okay, let me go get. So why don't
you
you
know
do
where
the
it
other
is?
one? Do birds of feather while I go get the pine bough.
Where's birds? Oh, okay.
So this one was knit by Christine, I think.
Okay,
de
so
Castelbajac.
Christine de Castelbajac, who, so we have a couple of people who don't actually work in the store, but we outsource some of our knitting projects too. So this is the Birds of a Feather shawl by Andrea Mowry, and the original, so it appeared in Len 1 or Len 2, I think, and the original shawl is done with hedgehog fibers in the skinny singles with their silk mohair, And while it's beautiful, it's a little bit hard to get our hands on a regular basis on those yarns, even though we do carry them and we do have stock of them now. We thought we would do it in something that we could get more easily. And just for a little bit of a change, we wanted something maybe like a moodier version of this shawl. And so we did it with Artfill Solo, which is a single ply yarn from Artfill, combined with, are you looking, Lise?
Yeah, I can't find it.
Lise is walking back and forth. Combined with I don't want to say Milk. Is it Milk Calori?
Yeah, I think it's Milk Calori.
It's called Super Kid. Actually, I have a ball of it.
Yeah, I think it's Milk Calori.
Here we go. So this is the Artfill Solo in the single ply. So pretty. And then this is just an example of the Lang Milk Calori in the Super Kid, which is again a combination of mohair and does this one have silk? I can't remember now. Oh, my eyes, you guys.
I mean, you need your progress.
It's merino, mohair, and a little bit of nylon. So there's no silk in this one, but it's soft.
It's soft. It's really, really nice.
So anyway, so do you want to help me hold this up
Yes.
just so people can get the full Monty
This is
here?
This is a gray bird.
Yes, exactly. So it's huge, as all of Andrea Mowry's shawls tend to be, but it's spectacular and it's so cozy. So,
I mean, I think knitting with mohair is an acquired thing because at the beginning, when we first started, a lot of people were like, "Oh, I don't know, mohair's picky," but then it's hard to also knit alone when it's just mohair. Sometimes if it's a very thin mohair, but it gives such a quality and a luxury to your yarn, to your project that it elevates it. Yeah. It's quite something.
If we say so ourselves.
Right. We'll be the queens of stranding. Yeah. So this is Pine Bough Cow by Diana Walla, who works for us. But she didn't knit it for us. Was it Giovanna?
No, it was Giovanna who knit that for us.
And because Diana's knit a few of them herself. So, but this is her pattern. And it's really nice and thick and squishy, and it's double.
So knit the round. It's a tube knit the round, and I guess it's Kitchener stitch.
It must be Kitchener stitch. Yeah. And we did it.
And we couldn't, I wouldn't even be able to tell you where that was Kitchenered. So well done, Giovanna.
Yeah, Giovanna's a master. She does our personal project classes. So people come and they have a project that they want to work on, and so they come to her class and she guides them. So she's really wonderful for that. So this one we did in the Tanis Tanis Fiber Arts Pure Wash DK. Yeah. And this is another yarn that as you wash it, it really softens up. Like, look how feel that.
And it's beautiful.
It's really beautiful.
It's just so graphic and lovely. And it just we put this up on Instagram when it was finished just before Christmas, and it just felt like the perfect Christmassy project, you know?
So that's really
wintry project. And just a little bit about Diana, you guys. Diana has just recently moved to Montreal from, I think she was in Norway, right? But she's a quite prolific designer, and she also has a very active blog called Paper Tiger, I believe. And she just started a podcast. So I highly recommend it. I tuned in the other day and thoroughly enjoyed it. It's very informative. She was speaking specifically about Norwegian yarns. And anyway, so she's working for us a couple days a week now, and she's actually teaching as well. So she's teaching this class here.
And we have quite a few very technical knitters, you know, Jocelyn, Giovanna, Diana, who really have like a deeper mastery, understanding, like a mastery of stitches and knitting and solving problems and tweaking techniques in order to make them like that much better. Yeah. So we're very fortunate to have her on board.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, so those are our finished store samples.
That's it. We made it through. Okay.
We made it through that. So here we are. So this is the Bernat Maker home deck yarn that I spoke about. So a nice big ball makes a whole bunch of baskets. I'm also working on making juggling balls and hacky sacks and stress balls with the kids.
I think you posted some of those.
Yeah, I did on Instagram. So the yarn calls for an 8mm hook or needle, but I'm doing mine on a 4.5. I started on a 5 and I went to a 4.5 so I can get a more dense fabric, and it's considered a bulky yarn, and it is a 250 gram ball, and it's a cotton nylon blend, 72% cotton and 28% 98% nylon to give it a bit more of that structure. And as I said, if you see, we have two kind. It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's just one is a smaller ball because it comes in colors that the bigger ones don't have.
Yeah.
So that's a new yarn, the new yarn, and we have all kinds of colors in there. And then, the sock ruler. Where's our sock ruler? I had it right over here. Oh, here it is, Melissa.
Okay.
So this is a new product that we just got. It's called the sock ruler, and it's a way for you to measure your socks. Keeps them nice and flat a lot easier than a measuring tape, and it comes in two sizes. So whether you're a top down or a toe up knitter, you can use the ruler. And there's one ruler that's the regular ruler, which is for children's large and adult. And then we have a combination pack that is the regular one, plus you have a smaller one for infants, babies, and children.
I think it's got 3.
It has the infant one, it has the child, and then it has the regular.
Yeah.
And this one is just the regular.
Yeah.
So that's a really fun little gadget that we just got in store, and it's called the sock
And I think
ruler.
what's interesting is I think it might be just plain white on the back. I haven't even taken one. Yeah, it's plain. Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
it is.
But what somebody said when we talked about these on Instagram, I personally haven't tried it yet, but I think what I'm going to do is take measurements of my son and
use a Sharpie?
Yeah.
Very
and so, or
smart.
they use a Sharpie, or they just write down the measurements they need for all the various people that they knit for.
Fantastic.
And then, so they've always got it, and so they know exactly where they need to go for every person that they're knitting
That's
for.
a great idea.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And just Sharpie it on the back.
Okay, so that's our sock ruler. Then we've got these fabulous flip sticks. They're actually called Flexi Flips, and it was hard to. They were kind of back ordered because they were so popular. So it's an ingenious idea. It is DPNs, but you only have 3. And it's basically a needle with a flexi cord in between.
So it's sort of for people who maybe you're a magic looper. It's a combination of magic. Well, you're not magic looping, but if you have been magic looping because you don't really like DPNs, this is kind of the best of both of those worlds because it's kind of like DPNs, but they're flexible. So you have your stitches on the 2 needles and you're working around with the third. And what's nice is because they bend, you have that flexibility that you don't get with regular DPNs.
I'm actually toying with the idea of casting on a pair of socks. I have some yarn waiting for me, and I want to give these a try. Françoise is almost finished her socks and loving them. She says they're really fantastic.
For, sleeves as well.
Yeah, exactly. Sleeves.
Except they don't go up past 5mm. I don't think either.
So you need a sweater. Maybe on my piece of silver, I'll have to see.
Try them on that.
So these have been super popular. We just got a shipment in
because they're for sleeves and that kind of thing. A lot of people don't like the 9-inch circulars either. So again, this is sort of allowing you to have that.
Yeah, because the 9-inch are very small, right? So this gives you a bit more space. Now, and I love the tube. I have to say it's a really good quality tube that you can
Well, what do you expect from Addie?
Of course. So we've got that. Oh, and then we've got our Kitchener stitch keychain, but in French. So we're so happy that we finally got it in French, and we had some customers. They're so cute who emailed us because I don't know if we talked about it in our last podcast or we posted on Instagram that we were looking to do it in French. So people actually emailed us suggestions, and I was just in the middle of finalizing it when three or four suggestions came in. So we really appreciate that, and we're so happy that we're able to do it in French. Alors, c'est le Kitchener stitch en français. And there was somebody who was an Anglophone saying, I don't even speak French, but it looks so cute that I want to buy it just so I could practice my French. So we're slowly getting on board with getting our things done in French as well. So that I can quickly show that we got, I don't know if other people are as crazy about these bags as me, but I really love these Bagoo bags because they're just squashed. When I have a small bag, when I'm going to physio, I don't want to bring another bag with my knitting, and I just shove it into my purse. So these were like super fun. They're called Disco Dots. And then these are the animal prints that we had, and we got restocked with the Sailor Stripe. So I really like the Bagoo, and I'm not kidding when I say I use them. Like
she really does.
This is the simple luxury I have, and then this is my crochet basket. So I just love these because I squish them in. These are like my practical shove in my bag.
Yeah.
If it gets dirty, I just machine wash.
Yeah.
And it does fit on my wrist too.
Yeah, which is great.
So that's okay.
Okay, so the reason I got up, sorry for all the distraction and disruption, is because we just received our, are you going to open?
Yeah, the indigo
okay.
ones.
Okay, the indigo ones. Good.
Yeah.
Our new shipment of all our Licky driftwood needles. So these are the standard ones that we had in both the faux denim and the faux black leather. And then before Christmas, we got the umber.
So the needles are the same color?
No, they are actually different colors.
They are like the blue.
Yeah.
Okay, I hadn't
These
seen
ones
those ones
slightly
yet.
have a brown wash, and then the blue ones have the...
So this is indigo. So this is the latest rage. It's just keeping us wanting more.
I
Like
know.
they're the exact
Creating
same
a
as the
need.
other ones, but a different color. And I'm like, oh, I'm into blue now.
Yeah.
If they would have started with...
But if you did not treat yourself to a Licky set when they first came out,
Yeah.
now you have even more reason to
Yeah.
do so.
And you have different...
No one needs two sets of
no,
Lickies.
exactly. Not even us.
Not even us. But they are beautiful.
So we have indigo, we have
Yeah.
the original with denim, gray
Yeah.
denim, and we have the umber. So we have three
And we have the
colors.
black.
We still have the black
I think we
left?
have some
Okay.
black. Yeah, as well. So one to suit everybody. Mm-hmm. Okay, so
Okay, so
let's get those.
I know, we're like, cleanup's going to be a mess.
Okay, so many other things we forgot to bring over, Elise. The wrist rulers. So we had the medium brown and the dark brown, and we've just recently got in the black and nude, sort of like the neutral brown. So our Rin Textile Knit Club pins have been restocked as well, and these are everyone needs one of these.
Everybody.
I love this one. This
Everybody.
is one of my faves.
So here's the black.
Okay. So you guys are, I'm sure, very familiar with the wrist rulers by now. But what's great about them is they have measurements in both inches and, oh, look at my pens, inches and centimeters. So whatever you need, and you have them on your wrist, and you always
And
have
this is
your,
the neutral.
you always have your measuring tool with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are the two new ones, and then the other ones that we've always stocked last few years now, I guess.
Yeah, are the browns.
Are the brown and the medium brown and dark brown. We'll put them back.
Mm-hmm. And then we have some big bad wool pom-poms. These
Yeah.
are the pom-poms with snaps.
So this one is the
So-
one that I used on our pull the wool over hat, which is another one that turned out to be quite popular. It's so hilarious to see how so many stores are making and selling kits for
I
this
know.
hat, and we haven't even done it.
Melissa and I
So-
had this whole discussion that we've about how we saw stores making, and we're like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's funny,
we
we're not-
should have done that.
We're
So
not kit people, but we're going to try.
Yeah,
We're
we
trying to
designed
be.
these patterns, we put them out there, and then all of a sudden other people are selling kits, and we're like, oh, that's maybe something we should,
That's a good
we should
idea.
be doing. Anyway, so this is
too
also
busy
one of our free
designing.
patterns.
We're too busy designing.
Well, I don't know. I think we're just lamely.
Yeah.
So this is knit with an Aran weight yarn, so hedgehog fibers in the Aran weight, along with, and it's stranded because Melissa designed it, right? So I have to have my silk cloud in there. Mm-hmm. So it's stranded with Shibui silk cloud. Super simple pattern, 4x4 rib, stockinette, till you're at 7 inches, do your
I mean, that's
decreases
really
and cast off. It does not get easier than
I mean,
this.
that's really what we're about.
Yeah.
We're about like easy patterns with beautiful yarns, and that's our
And a nice
aesthetic.
finish.
You know?
And then top it with a
Exactly.
pom-pom, or make a pom-pom
Yeah,
with
of
the
course you
yarn
can make a
left over.
pom-pom.
You don't need to buy a pom-pom.
Yeah. When we first started in this racket, it was all about making pom-poms.
Yeah.
It was
We
like,
sold so many
oh my
pom-pom
God,
makers,
our clover
right?
pom-pom makers,
Yeah.
like we couldn't keep them in stock.
Yeah.
And then the fur pom-poms started becoming popular a few years
Yeah.
ago. And so now everybody, you know,
Faux
it'll
pom-poms
it'll
and-
move,
yeah.
I'm sure it'll move back to homemade and then
Yeah.
back to that. So I think we made it through, Melissa.
Okay.
We did. So now we just wanted to spend a little bit of time. So we kind of alluded to it throughout our
whole
podcast.
episode, yeah.
About stranding with mohair. It's something we do a lot. I have to admit, Melissa's the more of a keener than I am with stranding, but she has lured me to the dark side.
That's right, because you designed patterns.
Yes, with the
stranded with
exactly
mohair.
with the mohair, and it's because for me, I always found the mohair picky, and then when I discovered Silk Cloud, it really changed my life.
Yeah, so there are different mohair blends that we will use, right? So Shibui Silk Cloud has the highest silk content, I
Yes.
believe, and so if you're remotely sensitive, then I think we can say with confidence that
Yeah.
if you strand with the Silk Cloud, you won't experience
Yeah.
any of the pickiness.
Yeah.
Also, obviously, the Superior.
Yeah, so
Which is another
that's what I
one.
was using before.
There's
I
a
was
ball of the
stranding.
Superior,
Yes, so I was stranding with the Superior at first, and Superior is a cashmere blend with a little bit. Well, it's funny because it's a cashmere with silk and some batches of Superior had 5% merino and some had none.
Oh, really?
So I'm not too sure what happened there, but
Okay.
I mean, I don't think the 5% makes a difference. This is 25% silk and 70% cashmere. And I was using this, so when
To
Melissa,
get that little halo.
when Melissa was using Silk Cloud, Kid Silk Haze before we had Silk Cloud, I was using this to get the halo. However, I will say that this dulls it a little bit because of the cashmere. It brings the color down. So I was,
Whereas the ones with the more of a silk content
and the mohair
really
brighten
tend
it
to
up.
brighten things up.
And I wasn't sure if I did have some hats here, for example.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's
this
a good
hat.
example.
So this hat is cashmere yarn with Superior. So it doesn't have like a great sheen or a luminosity. It looks a little more luminous in the light than it does in person.
But it does have the nice halo.
And I did a one of these in green that I had put on Instagram. I did a simple one, and it wasn't poppy. It was muted, and you really notice when you use the Kid Silk Haze or the Kids Silk Cloud that it brightens it a little bit more. So but the Superior is really no pick.
No,
it's cashmere.
If you're picky, if you feel a pick from cashmere and merino, then you should maybe never knit. Because it's you would definitely be Princess and the Pea then, right?
Yes, I definitely think so. And on that same note too, this one that I'm doing in the Lusso, and Lusso is a blend of wool, silk, camel, and mohair. So this one also, even though there is a good silk content, and it's so funny because it looks like there's a nice sheen with this light.
Let's see if we can go a little
This
closer.
one I find it's still a little brighter than Superior, than the Filatura Superior, but not as luminous as Kid Silk Haze or Shibui Silk Cloud.
Yeah.
But this, for people who are sensitive to mohair, this I feel feels a little bit more like the Superior.
Yeah, it does actually.
Yeah. It has a bit of like the other ones I find are a bit more smooth. This one is a little, I want to say like a meaty.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of a meatier feel.
Yeah, and also this is a DK weight as opposed to, so a Silk Cloud is really a truly a lace weight, I would say.
It's thin.
I mean, obviously you can knit it at different gauges, but it's thin and it's got the highest silk content. Then there's Rowan Kid Silk Haze, which is a little bit thinner. So imagine in the same 25-gram ball, you've got 227 meters or yards. Okay, 210 meters in this ball, and in the same weight of the Silk Cloud, you've got something like 300 meters. So you imagine it's a little bit thinner. But I tend to use them interchangeably. But if I want a strand that's a little bit beefier, then I will use the Silk Cloud.
Though I find this has more fuzz.
Do you?
Yeah, I find it has more of a halo.
Because it's got less silk and more mohair.
Yes.
Right?
So this is, imagine I actually made this hat for myself.
Lisa actually wore this hat a couple times.
And this is like my fall spring hat. So this is done with jade sapphire lace cashmere mixed with a Kid Silk Haze. And I wanted to do Superior, but I couldn't find that bright pink color.
Yeah, right, because Superior doesn't really... Well, no, I shouldn't say that. It does have some brights. It didn't have the neon,
but not as bright as that, though. So, I mean, I don't know if you can see the difference, if this light is doing justice, but this one here is done the same base yarn, the Jade Sapphire Lace, 2-ply cashmere. This one I stranded with Superior, and this one I stranded with Kid Silk Haze. So this one is quite a bit fuzzier and more luminous. I guess if I would have done it with the same colors, it would have been easier to see the difference. So stranding with different types of mohair and different thicknesses will give you different effects, and the only way to really know is to test them, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, just in terms of thicknesses, so we mentioned that Silk Cloud, Silk Cloud is going to be the thinnest one of the ones that we carry anyway. And then you move into the Kid Silk Haze, and then you would move into, Superior would be down with the Silk Cloud.
Yes.
And then the Kid Silk Haze, then the Lusso in terms of thicknesses. So this is really like adding a DK weight to something.
Exactly. It's giving it more beef, more heft.
Yeah. So some of the questions we get are, trying to figure out what weight of yarns to use and to combine with the various silk mohairs to achieve the gauge in a particular pattern. So, I kind of have a rule of thumb that guides me. So if I am looking for something, if a pattern calls for an Aran weight, for example, I know I can take a worsted weight yarn and combine it with Silk Cloud and achieve that Aran weight. If I am looking for something that has like an 18 stitch gauge, then depending on the kind of fabric that I'm trying to create, so there are a couple of patterns that projects that I'll show that call for an 18 stitch gauge. That's kind of an Aran weight, but I've achieved that gauge with a fingering weight yarn combined with silk cloud, you know, because the mohair just allows for so much flexibility in terms of the thickness and the gauge of the fabric that really it's about experimentation and figuring out what density of fabric that you want.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, I agree.
Because when you knit this particular pattern, you took a worsted weight yarn, almost an Aran weight, which is the Woolfolk Far, and added silk cloud, but you didn't increase the gauge of the pattern to accommodate for that because you wanted that just an increase in the density. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
So you can achieve this, you know, still achieve the same gauge that the original yarn calls for. Add the strand and still get that gauge.
It'll just give it a plumpiness.
It'll just give it a thicker.
Yes, so that's really important that you don't have to change your gauge. If the yarn is an 18 stitch gauge and the pattern is 18 stitch, you can still add the mohair and it's not going to change your gauge, but you're going to have a denser fabric as you mentioned. Yeah. I think probably a good thing to do is just to have like a random ball of like, if you're a person like, oh, I'd like to try, you know, one ball of Kid Silk Haze, one ball of Silk Cloud, and then just do your little swatches.
Yeah, and do your swatches and see what you like, because this sweater, I don't remember, I think this was the
Pickles
like easy,
light turtleneck
sweater, exactly. And so this one called for, I think it's a 14 or 16 stitch gauge, and so I took a sport weight, the Drops Alpaca, and combined it with Silk Cloud to get that. So it's a little bit sheer. I wanted a light airy fabric, which is what the pattern called for, and you know, so I went with a sport instead of something super thick.
And that's you know, because some people like they want a warm garment, but they don't want the bulk
or the weight. You know, you want it to maintain its shape. When you have a really heavy garment, it can really stretch too.
So by taking a thinner yarn and putting in the mohair, it
keeps that lightness.
It keeps the lightness, but you can achieve the gauge of the pattern and it can look really nice without, because sometimes you don't want an Aran sweater, but you want the look of an Aran sweater.
Yeah. So this is another example of taking the Silk Cloud, which is technically a lace weight, I would say, with another lace weight, which was the Shibui Pebble, and getting something which is also an 18 stitch gauge, which is really a worsted weight gauge. So again, it's a sheer fabric, but you can take those same two yarns and achieve a 20 or a 22 stitch gauge.
And what I did with this one, so this is one that I did. It's by Pickles. It's what's it called? It's something fall coat by Pickles. And what I wanted to do was, I knew it was eco wool, which is Cascade, not too heavy of a yarn, but I wanted it to hold its shape.
Well, it's a chunky weight, right?
It's a chunky weight, but it's
stitch gauge.
But it's not a heavy, dense spin is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to do was, I wanted this as a coat, but I didn't want it to stretch out. So what I found was, this one I did with Kid Silk Haze because I wanted to match the color. And by stranding it with the Kid Silk Haze, I felt that it gave structure to the coat. And this coat hasn't stretched out because of the mohair. I find it's given structure because of the silk. It's very strong.
I would second that in terms of every single sweater that I've ever knit where I've stranded with Kid Silk Haze or Silk Cloud. It has maintained its shape in a way that was unexpected. It is exactly the same size and shape as when I knit it 2 years ago. It has not, I've washed it, I've blocked it, and it has just maintained its shape. And I believe it's because of the silk content in the mohairs that doesn't have a lot of stretch. So it doesn't lose its shape over time. Again, I knit this one a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And again, all of these projects that we're showing, we've talked about, and we have our project notes for them on Ravelry. But this one has maintained its shape too. Sorry, I've got so many here. Obviously, I've been stranding with Silk Cloud forever. This one is knit with Madeline Tosh Light with Silk Cloud. And this one is called 22 Little Clouds by Martina Bem. And it was another one that called for an 18 stitch gauge. So I just took the fingering weight yarn with the Silk Cloud and easily achieved that. And it's it was a quick knit and a super light one.
Okay, sorry, I'm back. We have
Is everything okay?
Yeah, everything's good.
Okay.
So I think, did we finish talking about this?
Yeah, no, maybe you didn't.
So I just felt that putting the Kid Silk Haze really gave it a nice structure and held its shape, like you said. And I can't believe how it softened the Eco Bowl.
I know.
It was really quite amazing how you can take, because I find like Eco Wool by Cascade is a nice workhorse yarn. It's like an honest yarn, 100% wool, Peruvian wool, and then you add this and you're like, oh my God, that's so luxurious. And this is warm. So again, what I did was I kept the same gauge as the pattern.
Okay.
So I think it was a 16, and the Eco it could be 14, 16, and then I added and kept the same. So it makes for a denser fabric versus the ones that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Give a bit of a lighter fabric.
Yeah, this is another one. This is an original. This pattern was originally knit in a linen.
Yes.
It's called the Color Block
cardigan.
Color Block cardigan, I think. And so I knit it with the again Madeline Tosh light stranded with Silk Cloud, and it's in an 18 stitch gauge. And really, it's held up its shape too. It really, I mean, these things hang on hangers for years in the store, or they get folded and put away and tried on a million times. And what's also nice, and something I've noticed, somebody asked me the other day on Instagram how I go about gleaning. If I glean, actually glean projects that have Kid Silk Haze in them, or mohair in them. And absolutely I do. I will say that when I strand with a silk mohair blend, I find that my sweaters or whatever I knit tend to pill a lot less. And I don't know if it's because of that halo or the silk that's wrapping the other yarns.
It's probably why, Melissa.
A bit of a buffer.
I think so. I think that makes sense to me because I think you're right. You will have some shedding with the mohair. And
Silk Cloud does not shed at all.
No, it like the Kid Silk Haze sheds.
Yeah, maybe sheds. Yeah.
So you might have some shedding, but you won't have that pilling.
No, at all. And if you do get the occasional pill, I find that I don't even need to use the end of the gleaner that has the volcanic rock. I actually just use the lint remover side, and that's enough to just take off whatever might have come up from the surface of the sweater.
It's so warm. Like it's amazing when you add mohair to something how warm it becomes with, as we mentioned before, without the bulk. So I think really the best thing to do, and the only reasons we've learned all this is through trial and error, right? Trying and testing and then seeing how it, and like, oh, let me try this, let me try that. So,
because I don't think there aren't any hard and fast rules about this weight of yarn and this strand of mohair is going to create this gauge of fabric. I think it's just, it comes down to, the gauge you're looking for, the fabric that you like, and so if it turns out that you try Silk Cloud and it's just a little thinner than you want, then try the Kid Silk Haze or try the Lusso, so that you can combine with.
Or this one too, we talked about this one.
Oh yeah, the Super Kid from
Lang. And then there's also the.
And this one is.
Did you say that was a DK
weight as well? Yeah.
And then there's also the Hedgehog Fibers.
And the Hedgehog Fibers has exactly
the
Kid Silk, exactly.
So, and it's like an artist, an artist has to use their brushes and their paints and they have to test and see how things work out. Well, knitting is sort of like that too. And I think sometimes as knitters, we just tell us what to do and we'll do it.
Yeah.
But then
you have to
try because it's never going to be the same how you knit, the needles you use.
Or what you like.
Exactly.
What you like may not be what somebody else likes. So. And I had shown this before, but this is just to show, I just wanted to mention that this is another version of the groovy that we showed you in the Casual X Spark earlier in the episode. Yeah. And this is also, it's Pebble with Silk Cloud, but if you see here, this is actually just Silk Cloud double-stranded for the end piece.
So the thickness
just shows you that it maintains that, 2 strands of that lace weight will give you a similar gauge. So
test it out and see what works for you.
And you experiment and have fun with.
And you can keep your swatches. You can keep your swatches and just like put them in a little book or something and keep them and say, oh yeah, this is when I stranded. This is the fabric I got. Yeah. Because it's like it opens up a whole new world for you, and you can change your pattern without really changing it. You just work with a different fabric. Yeah. But the same gauge. So I think we managed to got. I think so. Let's see. We have keep shape, cut down on pilling.
I wanted you to show your on the sea train because it's so nice.
On the sea train. So there's my on the sea train cowl,
I noticed on Instagram this Christmas that a lot of people, Lisa, were knitting your on the
on the
citrine hat.
And I have to say, this has held its shape so lovely, so nice. So, I mean, it's far, which is already and
It's Woolfolk far, yeah.
It's Woolfolk far, and again, you're totally right that it cuts down on the pilling.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
There's no pilling on this.
We have not gleaned this, and I made this last year.
Yeah.
It's quite something.
Yeah.
So it just I have to say, and
What a nice set.
it is a beautiful set. And if you were like me and did not like mohair because you thought it was picking, try the Kid Silk.
Yeah, because Lisa's sensitive and she likes it, so.
Yeah, so if
You like it
I
now,
like
right?
it, yeah,
You like it
exactly.
now. Then give it a whirl.
Give it a whirl. So, I mean, it was kind of a whirlwind of all kinds of stuff that we went through.
We covered a lot, and I'm looking at things that we didn't even talk about, but I think we have to just stop, Lisa,
Yeah.
because it's overload.
And our cleaning lady is here,
Oh,
so
yeah.
she's
She'd
like,
like
you
to get
you
started."
girls got to get out of here. So we have actually we have a Valentine's thing coming up. We have some special guests
Yeah.
visiting us in February.
Yeah, we have some special guests coming up from New York. Some people that you may know. I don't know if we'll mention now who they are because I don't know.
Yeah, let's wait till it's finalized.
Okay, where we have something to advertise.
But it's going to be Saturday, February 17th, so we're going to have a special
little Valentine's Day event. It's a little post-Valentine's, but we'll have we have some things planned for that day.
So we'll probably be podcasting either before, we'll Instagram.
What day? Yeah, it's only January, right?
Yeah.
We'll be podcasting before.
Let's hope. Let's hope we'll get our act
We
together
will,
again.
we will. So we have to get back in the groove.
Yes. Well, we are. I think we're back on track. We always say that, and then we fall off. And we get back on. And,
It's a new year.
It's just who we are. It's fun to be that way. Spontaneous.
Yeah.
So thank you
Keep
so
you
much.
guys guessing.
Yeah. Thanks.
When
Everyone,
is the
though,
next
they're
one?
like, when are you podcasting? We're
Soon.
So thanks so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to share our insights and our products and our samples and our knitting with you. And we love your comments.
And thank you for tuning in. And also, just because we have to say that, if you want to be notified every time we do post something, since we don't have a really regular schedule, then just be sure to hit the subscribe, or I think the little bell
do that as
button
well.
will notify you as well. But the more people that hit subscribe, the more our podcast will be able to be found and shared. So
easier that way.
Yeah. So if you liked it, enjoy.
Thank you
Please
so
subscribe.
much. It was great chatting with you. Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.